Welcome, and we are going to be setting up our application to connect to YouTube. So we are going to need to get a YouTube ID because you need this in order to get API data from YouTube. And there's a lot of information here on their website. So I'm going to be showing you a really basic way to use front-end coding, to use jQuery so that you can make that AJAX call. There's some information here as well for using different languages, so quick starts. So there's a lot of really good resources and just a ton of information. So first of all, you are going to need to have a Google account. And I've already got one here that I've logged into, so that's why I'm able to get to the API and the API dashboard. Because this is going to be essential. You're going to have to create your own credentials in order to connect your own feed to get your own API data. So this is an important part of the upcoming lessons, that you do have a Google account and that you do have ability to connect into the developer account. So of course, we are going to be using jQuery. So let's set up our HTML, our first file. This is going to be a one page. We're all going to do it on this index.html page. So all of the code is going to be sitting on one page. Now, normally you wouldn't do this, but because for the purposes of this lesson, I am going to keep it all focused on one page, which is easy to read and to access. The jQuery I'm going to be getting from the Google libraries. I'm going to be using the Google developers CDNs. So and with CDNs, you can really easily bring them into your project. So it's as easy as that to get jQuery into my project. Now I can open up the page, and usually what I like to do is I like to check and make sure that jQuery is active in my project. So all you have to do is type in jQuery, and if you get something returned there, then you know you're good to go and you're ready to continue building out content in jQuery. So I'm going to make this editor a little bit bigger so lines of code are easier to read. And let's start by grabbing our document object. So whenever that finishes loading, then we do the ready event. And this is how we know that jQuery is ready to go, because it's dependent on the DOM. So you have to make sure the document is up and ready to go and connect to. So next, let's create a button here. And this button, what this button will do is this will initiate our search. So do input type, and we're going to build the form around this as well. So type button value, and this one basically it's going to be our trigger for our search, and for now it's going to be our trigger to connect to the API and pull back that information. And let's also give it an ID so we can a lot easier select it. So just call it search button. So there we go. So next, let's set up a click event. So search button, and we can just do a click event. So there's a hash there because we're grabbing it by the ID. So we're grabbing that search button value. So we're going to use the click. So in here we just do function, and then this is what fires off whenever this button is clicked. And I'm using console log just to make sure that everything is working properly. Let's refresh, click our button, and there we go. So everything looks like it's working properly. I'll make this a little bit bigger. And now we're ready to build out our AJAX call. So that's coming up in the next lesson. We're going to set up AJAX. We're going to also set up our YouTube key and all of that information. I'll walk you through how to set that up to get an API key, and then we're going to be making our connection, returning back the results, and then outputting it into our web page to look nice. So all of that is coming up.